Welcome to the Mucked Up My Self-Care podcast.
I'm Jill from New York.
And I'm Linda from Tasmania.
We are two moms from opposite sides of the world who are living, demonstrating, and helping moms across the world build their self-care asset bank.
Ready to dive in? Messy, interrupted, imperfect, and most of all mucked up. Let's get going. Hello. Good morning. It's still dark outside for you.
It is. And it's only 6 o'clock, but when the time changes, 6 o'clock is like still dark.
Yep.
What was it? I think it was on groundwork last week. Carrie's like, it was so cool to watch the sunrise with you while we were on groundwork because we got on at 6 a.m. here. And by the time we got off at like 7:50, it was totally bright and sunny. So it's fun to show that transition behind me as we were.
And we're getting to the other end. I said to Alex tonight, it's 8 p.m. Come on, mate. He's like, looked outside. I was like, no, it's not. Look, it's still daytime. So we're starting to get out longer days. So in sort of the middle of summer, it won't get dark here till about 9:30, quarter to 10.
So same with us. Like 9:30 is you can still see it, the dark, the sun peeking through around 9:30, our longest days.
Yep. Yeah. So good. Anyway, highs and lows. Let's start us off.
All right. Highs and lows. Let's see. My high for the week is, oh my gosh, my sister and I did something fun. So we have, I think I've talked about it before. We have a pole dancing studio not far from where I live. And they had a special for the month of November. It was half price classes on Saturdays. So her and I took advantage of that. And we did a hammock class, which is the fabric that hangs and you can do all this kind of fun aerial stuff. It was,
oh my gosh,
so difficult and so much fun. And I never want to do it again.
How sore were you?
It feels like rug burns on my back from hanging upside down in this fabric. But it was so challenging to try and figure out these moves and then like really trusting this piece of fabric that it wasn't going to snap while it was holding you up above, suspended from the ground. Like lots of shrieks coming from her and I. So it was probably the highlight for me of my high. So
awesome. Yeah. Yep.
Let's see. What was the low? I think I got like a very mild case of food poisoning after our date night this past week because we brought home leftovers and then the next night we had the leftovers, but mine I had with like a little salsa and Bobby didn't have the salsa, and the next thing you know it, I'm like in the bathroom, not okay for the next 24 hours.
Oh,
it really like just put a damper on the whole week. Like I wasn't able to do a whole lot of other stuff until it cleared. And let's just say that hanging upside down either did not help with how my stomach felt. Even a few days later. Maybe that wasn't a good idea, but yeah. What about you, Linda? Highs and lows?
Oh, I think the high is definitely the longer days, the warmer weather is starting to kick in. Although we did have a fire alight a couple of nights ago just because it was just on the edge of chilly, and the kids, this is really my low, the kids have all been a little bit snotty and congested and all that sort of thing. So I wanted to try and keep them warm. And it was just wet and rainy and cloudy. So yeah, that's just trying to recover. And also just ended up with a late period, and that's just feels like it's mucked up my whole sort of planning for the month and the all of the things. It's just really it doesn't always, but sometimes it just really throws me out of whack, and I feel like there's all these other things that have been mucked up in the process. So I think we could talk about those mucking up moments where maybe things come a little bit left field, or we have something in mind for our self-care and then it doesn't go to plan, or all sorts of things. Like let's
Yeah,
Let's
I
go
think
there.
so. Well, I love talking about how we mucked up our self-care this week. Yeah.
Yeah, why not? It is the title of the podcast after all.
Right.
All the mucked up self-care.
Oh, man. Well, do you have anything that you've mucked up for yourself this week
Oh,
that
so
you
much.
want to
So
start
much.
with?
Do I dare say it on a podcast right now?
I got a few things
uh,
I can share.
I think one of the biggest things I've definitely overlooked is getting back into this habit or idea of underestimating how long things are going to take with kids.
Yeah.
And while it's not an intentional muck up or that sort of thing, it can really, I think, muck up my routine, if you like, or my ideas for my calendar, or my ideas for self-care and things like that. It can really muck up that side of things because when I get gazillion billion interruptions of the same question of what's for dinner, what's for dinner, what's for dinner, what's for dinner, what's for dinner. I've told you what's for dinner. I'm trying to cook dinner. Just let me cook dinner, please. Those sort of moments really then start to wear you down and deplete your energy. And they essentially get me to a stage where I feel like I'm mucking up how I'm approaching things because I'm either in a frustrated or annoyed state, which I don't necessarily enjoy being in a lot of the time. I realize it's not going to be avoidable. It just has times at the moment where I think, okay, I've got an hour. I'm going to clean out the linen cupboard or something. And then little people find the sheets and decide that they want to have a cape and a cubby house and everything else. And all of a sudden, I've got 3 loads of sheets to put out and the linen cupboard is all over the house. As one example. Yes,
Yep.
recently.
Mm.
Recently. Yep.
Yeah. It's the cleaning of the bedroom where the toys live that they're like, oh, look at this toy I haven't seen in 7 days. So let's take out the whole entire bin to play with and undo
Yep.
everything mom just did.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, Declan was at his grandparents' this weekend, and I had the little bit of time alone on Saturday morning where I got to clean the house. It looked beautiful. He came home yesterday. It's like, Mommy, where's this? Mommy, where's that? And then I constantly had to get up and go show him where everything was put back where it always lives. Like, you have a truck drawer. Like, this drawer is just trucks. You know where your Hulk gloves live.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Same spot every day. I put them away, dude. Come on.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I think I was trying to do podcast show notes yesterday. I was like, I just really like it doesn't take that long. Like I need 15 minutes to myself.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem with you interrupting me, but I can't get up out of the seat. Like let me just sit. I will answer you. I can divert attention. But it's the getting up that ruins the whole flow.
The
So
whole
let's
flow.
not do that, dude. Bring it to me. Bring it all to me. I will help you bring it to me. Nope. It's like, you know what? Forget it. Show notes will wait. We'll do it later.
Yep. So tricky. So tricky. Yep. We had to have a hunt for a cheese grater the other day because the boys have been unpacking dishes and everybody has a different idea of where things go. And then I find the cutlery drawer, if you're OCD, just it does not work with 4 kids because the knives are in with the forks, are in with the spoons, are in with the like, And so you've really got to let it go if it's mucked up in a way that isn't to your standard. And maybe that's something to talk about, because what does it mean for it to be mucked up? Is it mucked up by my expectation or standard or ideas? Because some days that cutlery drawer really, really bothers me when I can't find a knife to spread the hot toast, even though I hardly ever get to eat it hot anyway. Like, I just, and then other days I'm like, meh, they unpack the dishwasher. Isn't that awesome? So, what does mucked up my self care actually look like?
Right. Are you taking what you can get? Or it comes back to that I'm just gonna do it myself point. But I don't have an answer for that from my side yet. But give me a few years when mine starts unpacking in the dishwasher and their stuff goes with my stuff. Because right now it's lovely. He's got his own cupboard of his stuff and he'll put his things away because he knows where they go. So luckily, I think that's probably one of the easier things for Bobby to find homes for is the cutlery. Because that's the one thing that I have not changed in this 10 years that we've been in this.
Yep. Yeah,
But
exactly.
my cutting boards are my sore spot. That's my sore spot because it has a very specific arrangement and it goes in height order and it's very obvious to me.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, it's not obvious to you. I don't understand. Like, you pull it out
Yeah.
from there. How do you not recognize how to put it back in there?
The thing is, I've got to a stage especially with the two older boys who are approaching the teenage years quickly, where the chopping boards hardly ever stay unused
Hmm.
for that long,
Yeah.
because I find that they'll chop an orange on one and then an apple on another and then something else on another. And I'm like, oh my God, there's only three. You've just used three. I've just washed three. Now I have another three to wash. Oh my gosh. And how we ended up talking about the dishwasher and the dishes again, I
Again,
do
every
not
time.
know.
Obviously, it
It's
is a sore spot
almost
for mucking it.
obviously.
Although, once they're done and my kitchen is spotless, like that is the best feeling ever of having countertops that sparkle and nothing on the stove, everything put in its place. It's just like, this is worth both somebody else putting away the dishes in the wrong spot and me having to do the work. Like, at the end of the day, it's just, sure, it gave me a little bit of a headache for 5 minutes, but it stays so nice for a little bit while longer then, and then I just feel like this was worth it. And I feel like that's what self-care is that realization that something was worth it
Yep.
for the little things that we don't realize, and taking in that gratitude of the work actually made us feel really good afterwards, even something as small as a clean kitchen counter.
Yes, even if it only lasts for 5 minutes. I swear I'll walk out after breakfast sometimes. I'm just like, oh my gosh, why? Why did I bother last night? Especially when they keep wanting to help themselves to spaghetti the other night, and it was everywhere. Everywhere. Oh my gosh, everywhere. So, yeah. How else have we mucked up this week?
Um, Mine's gonna be my calendar.
Mm.
I know we've talked a lot
Mhm.
about our calendars and being intentional with them and stuff, and I mucked that one up this week. And the irony is that Bobby remembered what we had to do, and I did not for once.
Oh, for gratitude, isn't it? Gratitude moment, right?
Oh, yeah. Saturday afternoon, we had planned to go out with friends of ours for an event their church was holding. at a arcade place. It was a fun thing that we've done with them before and we're gonna do again. But I only wrote it on the kitchen calendar on the refrigerator. I didn't put it in my calendar. I didn't look back at the calendar, but I told Bobby he needed to be home in time to go to it a few days ago, and it slipped my mind completely with all the things going on around the house and with work stuff. It just slipped my mind. And then he told me Friday that, oh, I'm going to be home early tomorrow so we can. No, it wasn't even that. It was he was leaving in the morning on Saturday. It was the day of that he reminded me. I was like, wait, what are we doing today? Like, wow, how did I muck that one up? That's
Mm.
good. Luckily, I didn't have anything else planned because I
Yes.
forgot that I just had to like save myself. But I was like, I was gonna go pick up Declan and go bring him home. And after he was spending the night at his grandparents, and I was like, oh, I guess I can't do that. I gotta call them now and ask them if they'll watch him even longer. So,
Yeah.
which ended up turning into a second night of sleepover that I didn't have to go get him until the next morning. So he spent 2 nights at his
Yes.
grandparents on his own request. So that is my grateful moment in that muck up because we got a little bit extra time and got to have. There was some anxiety around picking him up after the
Mm.
event, but that all kind of settled once he said he didn't want to come back home until the next morning. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Perfect. Mm.
yeah, craziness.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mm.
Yep. I have a confession slash muck up, and there is a funky smell drifting around the house, particularly in this office at the moment, and cannot trace it yet. So something's gone amiss somewhere, something's spilt, or and we've been left without my knowing. And yes, feel a bit of shame around the whole. Yep.
Oh, and I think I can understand that feeling, Linda. Although I have yet to have a sandwich lost underneath a teenage boy's bed to know that, but there's definitely like cat poop from the litter box that the dogs pulled out and hidden somewhere that I'm like, what is that funky smell? Or even that
Yep.
throw up that somebody left around that I'm like,
Yep.
it's like you think you've done such a great job of keeping things tidy, and then all of a sudden you can't figure this one thing out, and you should be able to. Like it shouldn't be
Mhm.
that hard to find the source.
I'm really looking forward to it. And it's hard because I didn't plan for this. A bit like your calendar. I did not plan for this smell to appear and consume me a little bit because right now I have to prioritize other things.
Right. So how are you doing that? Because if it were me, the OCD would kick in and I would not be able to do anything until I tore the entire house apart and got rid of that smell.
Yeah, the resistance is right there. And I've done the quick scoot around the quick. I'll pull out the couch and see if it's under there because that seems like it might be a spot where it might be. I've had the boys come in and I'm like, can you smell that? What is that? What is that smell? What is that smell? Like, so
The dog
I've done
hasn't
that
figured
sort of
out
thing.
either yet.
No, oh, she's not a great vacuum cleaner. Anyway, she's really quite lazy when it comes to mopping or getting up food. And so I've had to try to just ignore and focus the best I can on what I really, really want to do right now.
Yeah.
But
So have you
it's
added it
very
to your
tricky.
calendar sometime to go ahead and go on a detective hunt?
Not yet. No.
Okay. Maybe
Mhm.
that will give you a little bit of like resolve until you can do it. If you just put it on the calendar, like block out an hour on a free morning or a nap time. Yeah, definitely gonna have to.
If it smelt like a rotten apple, it would be much better, but I can't quite detect or place what the smell is quite. Like, is it a dead mouse? Is it, I don't know. Is it these plants in here, which I've actually kept alive for a little while? All right.
So the mystery is just as irritating as the smell.
Yeah. Yes, it is a little. And I definitely did not plan for this week, just at all. Do we ever plan to muck up our self-care though? Do we ever plan to have those muck up moments where we're like, oh no?
I mean, like I was talking about with the mild food poisoning or just not feeling good part from it. I didn't plan on eating something that was bad and then having it give me a really terrible 24 hours of not being able to feel like I couldn't throw up or anything like and then not work out. Like I was going on a good streak. I had a few days that I was like, yeah, let's do this. We're gonna work out again and get into this routine. And then just kidding. I can't even like
Oh.
So had to stop that working out because I like how am I going to do that while I'm trying to not throw up at the same time? And so I had to wait another 4 days before I can go ahead and get back to it now. So today starts again. Let's start this routine of let's try and do this every day this week. So hopefully it's not interrupted again. But that's unplanned stuff that we're like,
yeah.
How are we gonna work around that now?
I think forgiveness is a big key. Forgiving ourselves for what's happened is a big one. And yeah, recognizing that things will happen.
Grace.
Without
giving ourselves grace.
Yeah. And
yeah,
trying to bounce back as well. Yeah.
I
And
think
she's just
motivated,
like,
like
yeah. I might have to go and get her.
Yeah, you can go do that. I think the motivation behind it too is staying motivated in um not letting that completely get you down that you can't get something done. So having a plan to bounce back from it, I think is once you recognize that it's been mucked up, if you make a plan, it can kind of help us get that motivation back in getting us to get back to that or just giving ourselves that grace and forgiveness that we feel that will help us keep moving through that. Oh my goodness. I'm tired. Can't believe she woke up again. But yeah.
Cows.
And that's another thing with sleep
Oh yes.
and teeth coming through. Just like you can't plan for our kiddos the way that they feel and all that stuff in the middle of everything that we have going on. So it really does come to having a lot of grace and flexibility. And yeah.
And I think building some good foundations as well. So habits where we can bounce back to and bounce back into, and the routine, calendars that we give some love to. We map out together and all sorts of things like that. So bye-bye. Yeah. That's for you.
What else?
Oh, there you go, the headphones.
Oh man. Well, that's a nice fun muck up.
Yeah.
Wrapping up on the equipment cords and but I don't think it was any other muck ups, but otherwise I think that was like my week. I wonder if we should do this again in a few weeks and figure out how we've mucked up our,
I think it's a
our
great
self-care.
idea. Yeah. And I think it'd be really good to hear how some other people are mucking up their
Oh my
self-care as
gosh.
well.
It would be great to hear from everybody listening. Yeah, some of the ways that we can all come together and celebrate those muck ups and recognize the gratefulness of what comes out of them, though. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I would love to hear from our listeners then.
Yep. All right. And until next week,
We hope you can unstuck your muck.
see you soon.
Bye.